Action. Activate. Hello, 2023. It's me, Gazbot, for Action Activate. And if I'm Gazbot and this is Action Activate, then with me as always,
it is I, the big dog. New year, same me, and same you.
Yes, same, but a little different. Happy New Year's to everyone watching, and to you, and to me. We missed last week because you were on vacation. I threw up a thing, the giveaways, which had long been needed to be kept up. Somebody had won the 250 subscriber or 200 subscriber, whatever the last one was before 3. They had won it, couldn't get in touch with them. This is something that's happened before. So I was like, hey, comment right now, and one of these comments will win it. And someone did, and I will be sending it out tomorrow. They asked that I wait to send it. So, and actually, it's a 2-time winner. They're the same person.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. So I will put up another one. I still owe everybody one where I'm going to add another item to the pile, and we'll do that giveaway. And depending on how that goes, you'll either get one thing or I'll just be like, take it all. We're not doing this anymore. But that was the only video last week. And now we're caught up because for a while we were way ahead. But we're recording this on the 2nd, Monday, and we're probably going to put it up tomorrow, Tuesday. Yep. You're watching. So that's as close to the present as we've been in quite a while. And you had the lovely idea of a theme that we're not going to do, but you want to tell the people what the theme was going to be?
We're not doing it this week. That doesn't mean we won't do it next week, but I wanted to do kind of like a wrapped 2022 best of, worst of, whatever. Had some ideas in mind with the way scheduling was. We could record today, but we couldn't do enough prep where instead of us filling a bunch of time while the other person thinks of an answer, we're just scrapping it and doing it hopefully at a later time. But instead,
yes. Oh, good.
Oh, I was going to say, but instead, yeah, perfect example of our show. But instead, what we thought was we're going to hop on full transparency. We were talking, catching up beforehand. I cut off Gaz and said, let's just record some of these thoughts on video. It's a new year.
Yes.
Some of this we're going to talk about Power Rangers. Some of it we're not. We're more talking about some of our goals as kind of, things we hope to see from, Power Ranger stuff, some stuff we hope for ourselves.
News to me.
A lot of this is news to you. But where we left off in the conversation before was Gaz was saying he's a big Transformers collector. I'm a decent Transformers collector. And one thing he's tackling right now is his Transformers. Yes. So I'll let you pick back up on your current / year-long goals of your Transformers display and collection.
Well, I'll slide through. I'll bring it into Power Rangers for just a second. Here's my Lord Zed Lightning collection. This was the first version, not the newer one. And actually, I was thinking I really need the new one because the silver fingertips. It's not that bad, and I could probably take some silver paint and just do the tips if I have to. But I found this in a box because I moved a little over a year ago, and there's still boxes. Like all our furniture set up and stuff. But you could even see. Well, some of this is stuff from eBay. But there's a couple like Thundercats boxes back there that I haven't opened. But there's just like collectibles and toys and things just that aren't, as much as I love them, they're not as important as dishes. And, so, and then it's also like, where are we going to put them? I got to put up a shelf. And it looks pretty together behind me, but it's not. Like, if you look, like Marvel Legends is pretty together and Power Rangers is pretty together. But if I turn it this way, that's like half empty and what's going on. And then if I turn it this way, it looks full. But that's just like random stuff put on shelves. It's not like an actual displayed collection. And I have box sensors. But so I've been, I got a new case. Well, not a new case. I set up a new case that I already owned downstairs and decided to make that my Transformers case. And I have been struggling with, there's two main well, there's a lot of collectors still on this. But I think the two big ones are money and space.
Yep.
And I have not been buying a lot of Transformers lately. Well, it's a relative term. But, in the last year or so, my Transformers buying has gone way down. Partially because of money and partially because I have a lot of what I already need. There's not a lot coming out that I need. But space is an issue. And some of the things I bought since I had that case set up at my old house, now I don't have enough room for all the things I have. And, oh, am I going to take another case? Well, then where am I going to put my turtles? And blah, blah, all those kind of questions. And similar, I'll tell you something else. This is my Lightning Collection case, which has some space in it, and it's got a couple of Soul Chogokin and stuff like that on the bottom. But I have a full case worth of vintage stuff. I don't know where that's going. Power Rangers, and this ties into the Transformers because the two dilemmas I'm facing when I'm trying to figure out how to display my collection and stuff are any collection, Power Rangers, Transformers. One is multiple versions of the same character. And I'm not, there's a few like Luke and a few other characters that I'm allowing myself to have multiples of because they're like my favorites. For Transformers, it's Hot Rod. And I've got like 5 or 6 Hot Rod, but fine. He's like my favorite character. And I know for anybody that's a Transformers fan, I know that's controversial because a lot of people hate Hot Rod, but whatever. I saw him when I was a kid and I loved him. So Hot Rod aside, like I was looking at, I have Ratchet, who's like the medical guy. And I had the Siege one and I upgraded it to the 2-pack, and it's a little bit more geo-accurate, but I'm like, oh, they're both pretty good for different reasons, and I kind of want to keep both of them, but like I can't. I can only have one Ratchet, and I'm having that with a lot. And the reason I say it's like Power Rangers too, because I have so many versions of the Mighty Morphin Rangers. How many do I need? I have the SH figure arts and stuff like that, and I also have these vintage ones. And push come to shove, a lot of the vintage are going to go, I think, because I personally like things to be in scale, and I like a cohesive look. I think what likely is going to happen with the Power Rangers is for figures, it's going to be all Lightning Collection. There might be a couple chromed out movie figures I keep, and like maybe some in space because they're like specifically different chrome.
Yeah.
But like most of the other figures, I'm going to let go. And then the Zords, I'll keep a few of my favorites, but I probably won't keep all the Zords either. That's kind of my plan. And even then, I don't know where I'm going to put them.
Yeah.
With Transformers, I have what they call the Chug line, or this like the main line that you get at retail. That's been available at retail for the last, I don't know, 15 years or whatever. That's my main collection. But I also have some Masterpiece, which are like the expensive ones. And I also have vintage ones. And so then it's like, which am I going to keep of those and everything? But all of that aside, what I was starting to say a minute ago was I had kind of got it mostly set up. And then I was like, I have 2 more boxes I haven't even opened. I barely have enough room for what I got going on right now. And I opened one. And there are things called Titan class and Transformers, which are like really big, like Fortress.
They're like Megazords.
They're super big. They're the biggest Transformers that have ever existed. And I love them. And everybody that has, I don't know if everybody loves them, but I mean, they're great. They're like exactly what I always wanted as a kid, because it's supposed to be like Optimus Prime's a truck. This is a city. And that's how big it should be. And now they are. And I thought I had, and they have also combiners, which are not quite as big, but still very large. And I thought I had kind of accounted for all of them, and I opened one of the box, and it had a combiner, and it had a super combiner called Predaking, which is like almost as big as Titan class. Like it's so I'm like, I could barely fit the little figures and I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I was like crestfallen. I still don't have an answer for that. And I go, and I have this other box, and I open the other box, and it was the opposite problem. Because do I want to get rid of any of my stuff? No, of course not. I'm a collector. I'm a nerd. None of us do. But in this box, other than a few things on top, was mostly stuff from like the 1986 animated movie, which I love, but it was duplicates that I got from the previous series of Titans Return that had a lot of headmasters and things like that. So for example, there's a character named Scourge, and he has sweeps. So it's like kind of like
I forgot about these.
Officer and his, minions.
His gentleman.
And I have 4 in this previous series, and I have 3 in the new series that's specifically 86. And my first thought is, well, great, a bigger army. They're a little bit smaller, but I'll put them in the background. And I'm like, no, I just need to get rid of these. And there's a character called Cup. I have the current version, which I still would like to upgrade to a slightly different current version, but I have 2 previous versions of Cup. And I'm like, I don't need 3 versions of Cup. So it's like, it's hard, but it's easy. You knew I did this blur. So I'm finding a lot of either duplicates of like, this was me trying to build the perfect movie set as it existed 5 years ago, but it's no longer the best set, and I don't need to keep a duplicate set. And then there's also a lot of figures that are characters. There's a character called Crosscut, I think is his name. He's silver. He's a remold of Skids, who's a character I like.
Yeah.
And he's a cool figure. I read one comic with him. I don't know who he is. I don't really care about him. And so there's a lot of figures like that where I just got them because they look cool, and I'm letting them go. So that box is going to, like, most of that box will be easy to let go. Never easy, but,
easier.
Yeah. And so I'm working on my Transformers case. And once I get that sorted, I'm gonna set this case up here behind me. One of these cases, this one or the other one I was pointing to, as my turtle case, because that's another one of my big first loves, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to prioritize, like, well, what collections do I have that deserve space no matter what? Transformers and Turtles, certainly. This other stuff in here, it's like that stuff I like, but I could live without it. So I got Power Rangers, and and then we'll see what's left. But that's a big part of what's going on with my real life plans right now.
Can you move the mic a little bit further away from the speakers? I'm getting some echo.
How about that? Is that better?
Echo. Yeah,
Echo?
much better.
Oh, and the other thing that I need to do, mixed in with all this, but this is a little bit further down the road, is I have, as probably many of us do, weapons and props. I have Saba, I have the Dragon Dagger, not just for Power Rangers, but I have like a lightsaber from Star Wars, and I have, and I've always had the idea of wanting to display them on a wall and some kind of like pegboard thing. And Tech Advisor Azuki just sent me a link to IKEA has gaming stuff now, like computer.
Oh, nice.
But in with that, they have these black pegboards that you can mount to the wall, and I'm like, this might be it. So stay tuned for that. But that's like months down the road.
Yeah, that'll be cool though. At least like if you can get it, it's locked in, and you just need to figure out where to put it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Originally, I was going to put it in my garage at the old house, but now with the garage we have now, it's not. I don't want to put anything of value in there because it gets super hot. It's not temperature controlled or anything, and it would just be ruined.
I feel you. My current kind of easy one I've had is with I collect. Gaz and I have a big Venn diagram of things we both collect and things we don't collect. And in that Venn diagram, I in the past had collected more Funko Pops than him. And now we're going to have, before your purge, roughly the same amount of Funko Pops, I think, by the end of it. So for me, it's a lot easier to put the Funko Pops to go. It's just actually having them vacate the premises is the hard part. And then for comics, I am now having an easier time as well. I did a lot of reading of comics this last year. I made a goal where, I think it was in like March or April, I made a goal of reading 1,000 individual comics before the end of the year. And I ended up, I think, at 1,003 as of like 2 days ago. Thank you. My new goal for this year is 1,100. But because I'm actually starting it at the beginning of the year, it's a lot easier where I shaved off like 1.5 comics per day that I need to read, which is nice.
Right.
So I can, I'm already ahead. I need to do some reading today, but I'm
not going to set myself that kind of goal, but I have been thinking I want to do a new comics Wednesday kind of goal. Not where I may not go to the comic store, but hey, it's Wednesday, I'm going to read a comic. That's kind of my new goal. And if I read a single issue or a trade, whatever, that's just a day I'm going to make sure. And if I even though I have 1 million comics at home and I don't need to buy more, if I'm inspired to go buy one, as long as I read it that day, then okay, that's
nice. I'm glad because I don't have a lot of people I can talk comics with, and you're one of them. So the more comics you read, the more we can discuss.
Well, the downside is, actually, speaking of comics.
I want to see what it looks like. Oh, never mind.
I don't love the cover. I just got done watching the Hawkeye show, which I liked way more than I thought I would. And it is very holiday themed, which I'm a sucker for. I really like the kind of graphic, cartoony, simplistic style inside.
Yeah, like, David Aja.
Yeah, it's a very like noir kind of thing. But then the cover is this, and it's not bad, but it's this sort of photorealistic painting. And I'm like, this cover, the designing kind of, that's what I expected. But this was the cheapest. It says 44, but I know it was not. It was a present, but I know she got it for like half price.
The ultimate collection of that. So that cover Alex Ross did in a series for Marvel, where like for a couple months, every comic that came out was a standalone like that of different characters.
Right.
And then I guess to try to sell more of that, they put him on the cover as opposed to.
Weird because I really like Alex Ross's art. That's not one of my favorite pieces of his. There's nothing wrong with it, but it also just like that's not the Hawkeye I was buying. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But that's on my short list. The other thing, I actually got this a while ago. Speaking of Alex Ross, but it was sitting right there.
I still need to pick that up.
I don't know if it'll be good, but just I watched a lot of behind the scenes about the process because Alex Ross, for those that don't, is like heavy photorealistic paintings, and this is him trying to do kind of a Jack Kirby cartoony dynamic style, and
with pencils. with pencils.
With pencils and like kind of bright colors, limited palette. But he also like, instead of like, he like built Fantastic Four figures. He didn't like buy Barbies and just use them for the poses or use like Marvel Legends figures. He like bought dolls and like built his own suits with the kind of material he thought. Like, it's not like that story made me want to read this, whether it's good or not. It's like, what a weird art experiment. Another book that I got not kind of recently is the artist edition of Ninja Turtles issue 1, which I've read part of, and I've read the story, but it's like, it's more about going through and looking at all the art stuff. And then related to this, as you know,
that's what I wanted to see
about the Barnes and Noble sale, where every hardcover in person was 50% off. And so I found one kind of close to my house that had this. And I suspect this was never on the show floor because
good Lord.
Yeah. You see how big this is? It doesn't do it justice. You'd have to see it in person. As much as you can see how big this is, you can't. Like, here, okay. Oh, this is ridiculous. This, even though it's thick, is standard comic size. Right? And like this is bigger than a comic. You know, it's like this is like an oversized, it's nuts. Like I got it for half price and it was still stupid expensive. Todd McFarlane was one of my favorite artists growing up. So this is like the one I'm getting if I'm getting any of these. But it's I don't know how I'm going to read it. I can't like flip. I'm gonna have to lay it on like the kitchen table.
Can you put it on your art table?
Yeah, you know, I think I can, but I'm worried that the bottom, because it's so expensive, the bottom might get chipped because there's like a little metal bar to hold stuff up. I don't want it to get damaged that way. But even when I'm done reading it, I don't know where to put it. I have lots of bookshelves, comic boxes, display. There's nowhere, it won't fit anywhere. Right now I have it on top of like art supplies. Like there's like there's binders and things like that. Like, and I just have it on top of a box over there. It's like,
I think you're gonna have to put it on top of a bookshelf, like facing you.
I would like it if I could show the art and have it up there like that, but I think it's going to be, on its side like that somewhere.
One thing, I don't know if you do this with your hardcovers, but do you stretch the spines at all before you read them?
But now that you're saying that, I'm like, oh, that's a thing, but I don't remember what it is.
I recommend it. I started doing it, which is a segue for my comic stuff. So my goal is with all of my, I'll show. I have these 2 bookshelves, right, full of trade paperbacks and hardcovers, and you can kind of see here that some of them are thicker than others.
Right.
So my new goal is I'm not going to finish this year by any means, but every trade I have up here, I want to read in some way, or if I'm not going to read it, just get rid of it, and then eventually narrow this down or keep the same size is probably more likely, of just stories like I really like and or will go back to. Right. So like what I'm doing now, and let me grab one really quick because this was a Christmas gift that I was very excited about.
I guess I'm supposed to be vamping. He walked away and I was trying to look something up. So you watched me look something up while he was an empty chair. Cool. So now I am vamping. And he's back.
I got this for Christmas. This is one of my favorite series of all time. Superman, Batman.
Oh yeah. Ed McGuinness.
Yeah, specifically Ed McGuinness and Jeff Loeb. So I'm trying to get either deluxe hardcovers or omnibus of stories I really like or stories I want to read. I did it also with another one a while back. Something is Killing the Children.
Oh, I still need to read that.
Oh my God, so good. And
then, I like this idea too. I don't know if that I need that. I'd be happy with just trade paperbacks, but there's definitely books I have floppies of and trades of that I don't need both of. And there's some that I have floppies of that I'd rather have a trade of. So like, yeah.
Well, that's the thing I'm learning is like, for me, it's a lot easier to read trades, and I usually read trades anyway. Nothing against floppies. I still like floppies. I still,
I've got 12 boxes of them right over there.
Yeah, I'm not going to say my number, but I have a lot. But if I were to reread something, or if I wanted to suggest somebody else read it, it would be in this format.
Yeah.
So like another one, and here's the other thing that's cool. A lot of these, whether people support big box or not, Amazon always has these cheaper than MSRP usually, and there's other sites that specifically just sell like omnibus for below retail, which is great.
And I will say for brick and mortar, there are stores like Book Buyers that you could find that too, and even a lot of comic stores like mom and pop comic stores will have a section where they're like, oh, these were red ones, it's 50% off.
And here's a prime example of that. I love the first two Ultimate series, yes. Ultimates and Ultimates 2, and this is all of Ultimates 2. I think it was it's 13 issues. And it retailed for $35 however long ago.
Right.
And it was half price.
Nice.
So it's like, if I'm going to have it, I would rather have this than the little trade. So also as it, comes up, if they're cheap enough, I'll upgrade to a hardcover. Like another example is, I love Green Lantern.
Did you, side note, remember when Boom was putting out that crazy big set of Power Rangers comics?
I did not get those.
I didn't think you did, but I couldn't, because it seems like what you're saying now is maybe you should.
I probably should have, but I didn't.
Okay.
But maybe down the line I will. Boom Studios and Power Rangers Omnibus are its own thing. Like, people who collect just this format really are frustrated by that, because it's like, oh, if you didn't get it right away, you're kind of screwed. But that's a whole story for another day. But I really like Green Lantern, and I haven't finished it yet, but about 10, 15 years ago, no, it was 10 years ago. DC did this thing called the New 52, where they did like hard relaunches and soft relaunches and all this. So I, through just a matter of life, got almost all of the hardcovers of New 52 Green Lantern for like $5 each.
Nice.
And I'm missing
one. There's a lot of free comic book day deals.
Yeah. Yeah. It's stuff like that where like, I'm like, oh, I love Green Lantern. I'm probably going to like this series. If I could have it all really cool on a bookshelf and reread it, then yeah, I'm only missing one now. Even if I have to pay retail for that, still worth it.
Absolutely.
So that's my comic goal, is to get rid of a lot of the ones that I either had duplicates of, maybe I bought them by mistake, or I'm upgrading. Like when I got these Ultimates in hardcover, now I'm gonna get rid of those other ones. Oh, the point I was gonna make was. I have been, I don't know what word you use, but stretching the spines before I read. And I've noticed a huge difference when I'm reading, especially bigger books.
Okay.
So what you do.
I'm going to give you one shot. You lay it out for us, for those that don't know.
So this is a smaller one, but it helps with Omnibus too. You lay it out, and pretty much what you do.
On a table or in your hands?
On a table, but I'm showing here is as you go. I'll show you the lazy way and like the really particular way, depending on your fancy. Okay. You just get a couple pages and do that. And then a couple pages and do that, and let it eventually lay out. And you do it once or twice, or you could go page by page, which I actually do with my Spawn Omnibus.
Right.
And what it does is it massages the spine a little bit, lets it loosen up. So when you're reading it and it's not just stuck in a certain way for a long period of time as you're going, it doesn't I forget exactly what it does, but it goofs it. It like I've done it with trades before where you're reading it like this and you're in the front for a long period of time, and eventually you go back and it's just a lot of this where it's all misshapen. So then when you're doing it, it's like lifted up like that, or it's warped, or it's
so the whole idea is to protect your investment, basically.
Yes. And also just reading, especially in bigger formats, it makes it way easier.
I have kind of heard of this as being a thing. I didn't know exactly what to do or why to do it. Glad you told me. I don't know if I'll do that. I don't have that many hardcover books, to be honest. Those ones I showed you, that's like 10%, or that's like 50% of my collection right there.
The times, because I've only done it a couple times and I have many more I need to do it with. But the easiest time to do it is if you have a coffee table, or like if your table or something. Exactly. I did it when I was watching, because the Spawn Omnibus was like 1,200 pages, and I went through one at a time, but I did it while I was watching. And also it makes it easier to not want to look down.
Right. And kind of catch the story that you didn't want to see.
Yeah. Or if it's something you have read and you plan on rereading, then you get to go through and you're like, oh, cool. Like, so you get
actually for like the art books, that is great, because it's not really something you read. So you can just flip through and look at the pages as you're going too. That's not kind of ruin the story.
So that's one of my goals. And then toy goals, get rid of the stuff I don't want and organize the stuff I do. And that's it. But keeping it Power Rangers, because we haven't talked Power Rangers nearly enough. What are your, I guess, wishes for Power Rangers in 2023?
I mean, we've talked about these things a lot, and in general, and in specific on the show. I want Cosmic Fury to live up to what we all want it to live up to.
Yes.
And they're setting the bar so high.
I know.
And they're leaking so much stuff intentionally and unintentionally, and it's just like, I just want it, because especially because it seems, we're always in this weird nebulous what's going to happen, but it does seem like this will be the final Power Rangers as we know it, even though it's already going to be this new hybrid where they're using Sentai footage for the Zords and new suits, and so it's already like a bit of a departure from what we've had. I mean, it's the closest back when they did Zoo 2 and all that.
I was going to say it reminds me very much of Zoo 2.
But it's been decades since they did anything even a little bit fudgy like that, and I think they're taking it further because it's like, anyway. But it seems like that'll be it. It won't be. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but Dino Fury was fine. I think Beast Morphers would have been a better ending if we have to have an ending.
Fair.
It doesn't mean I didn't want Dino Fury. Doesn't mean I didn't like a lot of things about Dino Fury. But just the end of Beast Morphers felt like this could be the end of Power Rangers.
Agreed.
The end of Dino Fury, Zato coming back notwithstanding, didn't feel like, it felt like the end of a season, not like the end of a franchise.
Yep.
And so I'm hoping that Cosmic Fury lives up to what is set before it and does a good job of being a season on its own. And if it's going to end the franchise, ends it the right way.
What I hope, because this is something we've seen at least 3 times that I can think of, where it's the end of Power Rangers.
Right.
So I want, very much like In Space and RPM, that it just goes. Yeah. If it's the end, make it count.
Yeah.
And it seems like with a lot of stuff that we've seen leaked, that's kind of the thing. But honestly, the biggest thing, because I think this will, if it is the end, it'll go out on an even higher note. And maybe if this happens, it won't be the end, because I think it will help.
So well, and then
as the show comes out or before it comes out, put out stuff for the show on shelves.
Oh yeah, merchandise.
Just get the things out, because that's the thing. I don't know what the numbers were, but for an adult collector's perspective, we had Zato in the Lightning Collection, and now we're gonna get 2 more figures, which is great. The season 2's over. Good job, guys.
I mean, but arguably they don't need to hook the adult collectors. Like, adult collectors know what's coming out and are already plugged in and will buy it 3 years, 10 years after the season comes out.
But I think the success of the show is based on everything put together.
They need to bring in new viewers. They need to bring in people that haven't watched Power Rangers in a while that are going to go, oh, there's a new show on Netflix. They have to bring in all of the current fans. They have to bring in kids and just people that just are new. They need new fans. And if it's going to continue the way it is,
I think however Power Rangers goes in the future, because as we've said many times, this may be the end of Power Rangers as we know it. And again, I need to disclaimer this. We don't have an inside source. This isn't definitive information. This is just 2 guys talking what we're thinking.
Likely thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But if this is the end of it as we know it, then I think it'll be a good springboard going forward if they go, oh, based on this data we have,
right,
here's how we can go going forward. And if they're like, well, adult collectors don't care because they didn't get any Power Ranger stuff, it's like, well, would you release this year? A bunch of stuff that doesn't have to do with Cosmic Fury. So how would you know if we liked it or not? So I think they need to bring Power Rangers back across the board to what we all remember it as. And 1993 was a show and a bunch of toys, and 2 years later a movie. And this is kind of that. And we have the special, which would take place of the movie in this analogy, but do it the way you did before, and I think it'll be successful. You just got to trust it, and that's what I think.
I think though that honestly they don't have the money behind it that they once did. But when Power Rangers started, they didn't have that money. That money came later. Yeah,
and they made it through the toys.
Yeah, Well, and licensing for more than just the toys. I mean, the toys, yes, but I mean, it was on bed sheets and
Then do that again.
all
There's
that
no
stuff.
reason
No,
you can't.
they should, and they do to a certain extent with the current seasons. I always see a little bit of something, but yeah, I just don't know how much kids are into it. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
The thing, and granted, I don't have any children, so I don't have a direct thumb on the pulse, but I hear so much about how Pokemon now is still just as popular in the same kind of ways as it was when I was a kid.
Right.
So, what is so different about that Power Rangers
Because
can't do something the same?
I don't know the answer, but the things that come to mind is Pokemon has a new game coming out on every system, usually multiple new games. It has the card game. It has the toys. I think the toys are not the biggest part of Pokemon. I think it's the games, the card games, and the video games, and
the merch.
To a lesser extent, the anime. Like I think the card game and the video game are what drives that. And if people like that, then they buy the toys, and then they watch. Maybe the show is part of it too. But also it's animation. So Pikachu could be in it forever. You can't have Austin St. John be playing the Red Ranger forever, for example. And the changeover, which is nice in some ways, you're gonna lose some people every time you switch it over. But yeah, I don't know. It is a thing to wonder about because like looking at Star Wars too, like there are old fans of Star Wars down to younger fans, but the vibe I always get is that kids are not into Star Wars. I'm like teenagers might be, but kids aren't, and I feel like every generation is like, oh well, the prequel generation is now older and they like them, and they're kids that grew up on the Clone Wars and stuff. But like, I don't see kids in my neighborhood running around with lightsabers saying, I'm a Jedi or anything like everybody knows what it is. And I feel that that's kind of how Power Rangers is. Obviously, Star Wars is doing better than Power Rangers, but in that way of like, it's this franchise that everyone knows, multiple generations of like that. It's kind of gonna be known for a very long time, but it's not exciting to kids anymore because it's already around. It's not new. And I don't know how to make that fresh or new to kids now,
Yep.
So maybe, and that based on what I was just saying, like maybe as much as I love the idea of kids being into it, maybe you don't aim at kids, maybe you aim at teenagers watching Netflix, and they're like, okay, here we go. This is the new Power Rangers. We're aiming for 15 and above, or whatever metric, which would be good for us as adult collectors and viewers. But it is also a little sad to think that maybe they won't be in the regular toy aisle anymore if that's the case.
Again, RPM and In Space both were seemingly the end of Power Rangers, and both did a great job of being family friendly while still having good stories, mature themes, and kind of throwing everything at it. And yeah. I just hope that's what they're doing with this and release merch.
Yeah. Short term, I'm looking forward to Power Rangers Ninja Turtles too.
Yes. Yeah. That I think just came out this week, right?
I don't know. I didn't go to the comic store this week, but I know if it's not out, it will be out very soon.
I'm down to commit to us reviewing it if you are.
I don't think anyone cares.
Okay.
I mean, we can, but nobody cares when we do comic reviews. No, none of our viewers, either they don't read the comics or they don't care if we read the comics. I'm not sure which. I mean, and feel free to correct us below. But Big Dog started doing some by himself and nobody seemed to care.
Yep.
We did one or two together and nobody seemed to care. So yeah, and I'm not saying like, oh, woe is us. Like, that's fine. We can talk about comics ourselves, but like, it doesn't seem like the kind of conversations people are interested in hearing us have. And we have plenty of other things to talk about.
That's fair.
I'm not against it. I think we had said this previously. Like, if people are interested, let us know. No one let us know. So, I'm not just saying this out of nowhere. No, not one person was like, I would love. Well, maybe one person that I'm forgetting, but generally, I don't remember seeing an outcry of like.
No, we don't remember a small mob of people saying we need these reviews.
My memory isn't what it used to be, but I feel like that would stick out. So
yeah.
But yeah, I do want to read it regardless, and we could talk about it regardless, just maybe not on the show. The other thing I'm looking forward to, even though I haven't pre-ordered it, is getting that In Space Zord. The Zord, is it the Zord Ascension Project?
Yeah.
I'm nervous having not pre-ordered it, and I'm hoping I could get it for like a non-sale price at some point. If not, I'm going to be very upset. But
same. That and Blue Centurion, I think, are pretty high up on the list.
Yeah. I can't. Did his pre-order go up yet?
I feel like it did.
I don't know if
the Alien Rangers too.
What?
Alien Rangers too. I forgot about that. You don't care, but I do.
I mean, I care for the fandom. That's good for the people that want it. I don't. I'd be
You
more.
you said I don't care. Please move on with this topic. Is what I remember you saying.
I might have said that. I do agree with everyone that like they should have civilian heads, especially with the amount of reuse on those. It's like ridiculous. And if they had civilian heads, I wouldn't run out and buy it immediately, but I'd be a little bit tempted.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, so next week. So do you still want to try to do the year like in review? Because I mean, this was sort of that, just not very good and not very Power Rangers.
No, because again, we have specific topics we want to touch on of like, since we have a week now to look, best episode we reviewed last year,
right.
Best Lightning collection for us personally, like stuff like that. Like there's plenty of things.
All right. So next week we'll be back with a more official, hey, here's what we liked and didn't like in Power Rangers from the last year.
This was more of a rambling / 2023.
Oh, definitely a rambling.
And then next week is more 2022 in review.
Yeah. Shows that are not Power Rangers that I just got done watching. Wednesday, fine, not great. I like the actress who plays Wednesday, but I liked it more and it got worse as it went along. That's how I felt about it.
Gotcha.
And my tech advisor Azuki commented that the first half of the show was the most like the Addams Family, and it got further from that, which tracks because I'm like, oh, well, that's why I liked the first half more. And then after that, we're currently watching Willow, which I like but don't love, which is a shame because I really like that movie. And similar to Wednesday, though, it was like kind of going up, and now the second half, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of losing me a little bit. And at the same time, we just started watching Arcane, which is the League of Legends show on Netflix. Yeah. That I'm liking more than I thought I would.
I heard it's pretty good.
I heard it's good. Go ahead.
Did you play League?
I did, but I haven't played it in years. I used to play it a lot. That was a game I played for like a year at least, maybe more on an almost daily basis. But it's all about the lore and stuff. So it's like I played that game. I didn't read the lore, and a lot of the characters have come out since I stopped playing, and some of them like are so different. Like I don't want to give things away, but like there's this one character who I just now like 5 episodes in, I'm like, oh, that's that guy. Like it took that aside. I'm watching it. You might as well assume I have no League of Legends knowledge because it's been years and I didn't read the lore and I don't remember it. But I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would. I heard from everyone that it's good. And it starts off good and it's ramping up. I said episode 6. I don't remember what episode I'm on, but it definitely is getting better as it goes. So that's where I'm at.
Nice. I am still behind on every show, other than reality shows that I'm watching with my wife. And
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I plan on catching up on Andor soon.
I haven't started Andor yet. That'll be the next
I want to watch Chainsaw Man.
I'm interested in that as well.
You
know what I have to catch up on, believe it or not? Attack on Titan.
Same. I'm on season 2.
I don't remember I think we finished season 1 and season 2 took so long to come out. I forgot about it until like
you and I are in the exact same spot. I am just 2 episodes ahead of you, sir. Yeah. That one, now that it's over, I want to go back to. And I feel like there was another show you and I talked about that you watched and I didn't yet.
Tiger and Bunny?
I need to watch the original Tiger and Bunny.
That was one I loved, and the new one's out. We're coming out around. There was another show.
No, it's out. It's out.
Is it out?
Yeah.
Another show you and I talked about watching. A current show, Rings of Power.
Don't care.
Okay. House of Dragons.
Don't care.
I will say this: having not finished Willow, House of Dragons, Rings of Power is by far the best. Which pains me to say because Willow. Sorry, I almost cursed, kind of half cursed there. I apologize. Willow, I love Willow. I love Warwick Davis, but it's just Rings of Power was better.
Yeah, all of those, like I'm slowly becoming you when it comes to certain media, where it's not that like I didn't like Lord of the Rings,
right,
or that I don't like Game of Thrones, but I know out of everything I haven't watched, I'm like, I'm not adding that to the list of things I probably won't watch.
I mean, I'm not telling you to add Willow or House of Dragons at all, and Rings of Power. I'm also not saying you gotta watch this, but I'm saying if you're gonna watch one,
yeah.
Rick
and Morty. I'm crazy behind on Rick and Morty.
I was caught up this season, and it was just similar to Attack on Titan, where like yesterday, Tech Advisor Azuki's like, did the next season of Rick and Morty ever start? I'm like, it did, and we watched half of it, and then there was a hiatus, and we stopped. And so that's another thing to get back to. Yeah. Also, we need to figure out what we're gonna do if we're gonna watch Mystic Force or Overdrive or something soon. I know there were some comments multiple times about us watching Mystic Force. That is something unlike comics that people seem to want to see.
I'm down to this. Is, by the way, this is the first time we're talking about this in a while.
Yep.
It's on YouTube, so it's not hard for us to access it.
So long that now we could actually do it. Yeah. Well, what comes first chronologically, Overdrive or Mystic Force?
Mystic Force.
Okay, so it would make sense for us to go back to Mystic Force.
I'm down if you are.
Yeah, I'm down to do that. I think we got to do the next episode that we just talked about and like whatever, but I think it's going to be a while before Cosmic Fury. I wouldn't mind having Mystic Force be our standard, and then we could deviate from that if we have ideas.
Yeah, I'm down to do kind of like we did with SPD, where we don't necessarily need to do every episode, but we can at least do like some monumental ones. If anybody has...
I was just going to say, last time there were some good suggestions for SPD, like these are the ones you should specifically talk about. Do that for Mystic Force. Doing your best not to put spoilers in, because I've never watched it, and I think you watched like half of it.
I watched most of it like when it came out.
Okay, so you have vague memories, and I have never seen it. So please feel free to give like an episode list that you think we should watch. We'll watch all of it, the ones that we should talk about. But don't be like, this is the one where so-and-so dies, or this is the one where the new, just the episode numbers is enough.
Yeah. Even title. I mean, titles can be spoilery, but it's a title, whatever.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
But I know if I remember correctly from SPD, it was a thing where like
a lot of the multi-part episodes were
the multi-part episodes we did, and then the beginning and the end of the season. I feel like the first like 5 of each we like 100% did, because it's like, well, I don't know who these people are. I can't just skip right now. So we'll at least
we watched all of them. We just didn't review all.
No. I'm saying for review wise, because we're like, well, this is important. We kind of have to talk about it.
Right.
I think that was kind of our gauge as we went. And then sometimes it was like, we watched 3 of these episodes and we should have done individual, but we're not.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's say in the next week, we'll watch the first episode. We can commit to 20 minutes.
No, because next week we're doing the 2022 wrap up.
Or we could try to do both.
That won't happen.
How about this?
I know what my week is. I don't have the time to do both.
How about this? We can commit to watching the episode in the next week. We can watch episode 1 of Mystic Force in the next week.
I'm waiting for the end of the sentence.
And then we will leave it up to the commenters. If whichever one gets more votes, we will commit to recording next week, either the first episode review of Mystic Force or the 2022 wrap up. And if Mystic Force overwhelmingly takes it, then maybe we just don't do it and it doesn't matter. For the wrap up, I mean. Give the people what they want.
I think what the people want is Mystic Force, and we should just skip the wrap up. Because what I don't want to do is sit down. For me, I don't know. It's going to take me an hour at least to go through the list and figure out what I thought and like that's prep time. I don't want to do that and then not do that episode. So
let's give this 2 days, and you and I will reconvene offline.
So
comment.
We don't want to know what the people want.
Comment, good, bad, and in between, people. Okay. What you want from us.
Yes, but we're not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch Mystic Force and prep for the other episode and then not do one of them. That's what I don't want to do.
Yeah, so in 2 days we will have our definitive plan. I plan on doing both either way.
We're putting this up Tuesday. By Thursday, we will make a decision. So you have until then to put whatever the comments you want. And I guarantee everyone's going to say they want to watch Mystic Force. So that'll make it. That'll be the answer.
That'll be easier for you.
But until then, I've been Gazbot.
Still the big dog. And thank you for listening to our ramblings. And it's about that time to go to the power. See you guys later.
End credits.
Action activate.
One thing I was going to say, I like how you used both In Space Guys, because I believe it was yesterday or the day before, Justin Nemo got married.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, I saw from Chris Kamen Lee's Instagram that he went to the wedding that was either on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day.
That is cool, and I'm happy that he got married, but it's an odd choice of a date for her.
I mean,
I mean, I guess it's a party. People go to a party. Which
exactly.
okay,
Yeah,
it's not
and I think it was a more like intimate wedding, probably.
Yeah. Well, good for him.